Raise your hand if you know what the Electoral College is. Raise your hand if you know how the Electoral College works. Raise your hand if you think the Electoral College is doing a good job of representing American voters. To summarize, the Electoral College is how the United States select its president. Each state votes for two elector groups that represent the two major political parties in America, being Republican and Democrat. The elector group is chosen by the majority winner in each state. So if Arizona were to vote Republican, then the Republican elector group will be chosen, and that group is the one that will vote for the actual president. American votes, or popular vote, is only used to elect the elector group. It's the elector group that will then vote for the actual president. The elector group does not also have to follow the majority opinion of the state. So if most people in Arizona voted Republican and the Republican group was selected, they can still vote Democratic if they wish. This has happened 5 times in American history, and most recently with the 2016 presidential election. This and more aspects are why the Electoral College is surrounded in controversy and why the Electoral College needs to be changed. Guide your attention to the next clip to learn a little bit about the history of the Electoral College.
To understand how this process began and how it continues today, we can look at the Constitution of the United States. Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2 of the Constitution. It specifies how many electors each state is entitled to have. Since 1964, there have been 538 electors in each presidential election. How did they decide on the number 538? Well, the number of electors is equal to the total voting membership of the United States Congress, 435 representatives plus 100 senators and 3 electors from the District of Columbia.
Some more history of the Electoral College is that it was created by the Founding Fathers at the Constitutional Convention in 1787. It was a highly debated decision and was only meant to be temporary. How the elector groups came about was because the fathers didn't have faith in the common citizen at the time to pick an effective president. It has only been changed once in 1804 by the 12th Amendment, changing it so that the president and vice president were on one ballot. Before, it had the winner become president and the second place winner be vice president. So as a modern day example, it'd be like Trump becoming president and Hillary Clinton being the vice president, which was a disaster. Besides changing some of the numbers of electors for states, no other changes have been made to the Electoral College since. Pay attention to the next clip to hear a bit of the extent of the problem with the Electoral College.
How you can become president with only 22% of the popular vote by taking advantage of the Electoral College today. Don't believe that's possible in a democracy? Just watch. Here's the action plan. Win the votes of the people who count the most and ignore the people who count the least. Start with Wyoming, the state where 0.18% of Americans live, but who get 0.56% of the Electoral College votes for president. And because it's a winner-take-all system, you don't need all of them to vote for you, just half plus 1, or 0.09%. Next up is the District of Columbia, where winning 0.1% of the population gets you an additional 0.56% of the Electoral College. Then add in wins in Vermont and North Dakota and Alaska. Notice how the votes you're getting to win the presidency go up much faster than the percent of the population who voted for you because of the Electoral College's rules. Next is South Dakota, then Delaware, Montana, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Maine, Hawaii, Idaho, Nebraska, West Virginia, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, Kansas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Iowa, Connecticut, Oklahoma, Oregon, Kentucky, Louisiana, South Carolina, Alabama, Colorado, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, Missouri, Tennessee, Arizona, Indiana, Massachusetts, Virginia, and New Jersey. Congratulations! By taking advantage of the unfair rules and winning states, not people, you've won a majority in the Electoral College even though 78% of the population voted against you. This is not democracy. This is indefensible.
Besides the winner-takes-all system, the Electoral College also does not have representatives in territories like Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, which are filled with citizens affected by the presidency. Repercussions that could come from these issues could be creating a tense nation. If people feel like their voice is not being respected in elections, it could lead to a lot of fighting and possible division in the country. Pay attention to the PSA for Band-Aid solution. For the big picture solution and actual change, amending the Constitution must be done. First, 2/3 of the House and Senate must propose the amendment. Then, the states will be notified, and 38 must approve for it to actually become amended. To conclude, the Electoral College has proven to be non-effective, and through unifying support and amending the Constitution to a better solution, the United States can move towards a better democracy. My final thoughts on the Electoral College after doing this research is that the Electoral College does need to be changed because a system that does not respect people's opinions on their desired leader is a system that will constantly let down the people it's working for.